You're right, guys. Shay here. Uneven bounce. Hope you guys are well. So I'm very delighted today. I always say this, but I really am delighted today to have two fantastic guests on the show to unpack the first test, which between Pakistan and South Africa, which results in a Pakistan victory by comfortable 7 wickets. I've got Aaron, aka the Cricket Connoisseur, and Lubalalo, also known as the Crick Scholar. You can catch both of them on Instagram. We'll also plug them later. But yeah, here to discuss. Yeah, the test match finished a couple of days ago now. Obviously, some raw reactions, especially from Luba, post test match. But yeah, a couple of days of I've passed now, so we're here to discuss everything maybe a bit more civilized manner, you could say, after what happened. But yeah, just here to start off with, obviously, I mentioned obviously. We're a neutral channel here on Uneven Bounce. I mean, I've got an affiliation to South Africa, but I do want to discuss both teams today in a bit more detail, especially Pakistan. I think it's got a little bit missing that they performed very, very well in this test match. I mean, they've only played Bangladesh and Sri Lanka at home since they're obviously restructured home to cricket in Pakistan. They played Zimbabwe in a white ball series, but they haven't played obviously a major test playing nation. Obviously, a lot of pressure on them going into this series. Only 2 test matches. That being said, South Africa came off a resounding victory against Sri Lanka in those 2 test matches at home. They battered Sri Lanka, as we all know. So they're very comfortable and obviously riding high. Obviously, Mirage in the ranks as well now. Shamsi, they thought was going to play. I think this match is quite evenly poised. I mean, myself, I thought that South Africa was actually going to take a 1-0 lead going into the second test. Wasn't to be. Completely opposite, pretty much. So I do actually want to start with Pakistan. I suppose South Africa. And Aaron will head to you first. Mm-hmm. Do you feel this test match was more about Pakistan playing well or South Africa playing poor?
That is a fantastic first question. And to be honest, I think it's a mix of both. I think you have to take your hats off to the likes of Fawad Alam and Azhar Ali for really digging in that morning session on day 3. And a lot of people have mentioned about Fahim Ashraf. That was a fantastic counter-attacking 64 from 84 deliveries. But the reason why he was allowed to go out there with so much freedom, allowed to go out there flowing with boundaries, he scored 9 boundaries in that innings, was because of the hard work and graft of Azhar and Fawad in that morning session. So in terms of the bats, I think you have to say Pakistan outplayed South Africa. I don't think that's at all controversial to say. You can see with the scorecard. And in addition to that, of course, the spinners. Absolutely sensational. Yasir Shah, I mentioned it on Cricket Fanatic stream. He almost looked like prime Shane Warne at times on that surface. He's getting so many revs on the ball. He made Faf du Plessis almost look like an amateur at times, which is an extraordinarily difficult thing to do. Faf du Plessis is an extraordinary cricketer, a stalwart, a legend of South African cricket in the modern era. And he made him look, as I said, almost like he'd just been on debut. It's absolutely extraordinary. And then, of course, he was just complimented to perfection by Nouman Ali on debut, 34 years of age, coming off the back of a fantastic Khair-e-Nizam trophy, took 61 wickets, around 23 for Northern in that competition, with the majority of those wickets coming at the National Stadium in Karachi. So the guy knows the surface and he played the conditions beautifully. I thought he held at one end, created pressure, took a brilliant 5 as well, really complimented Yasir Shah, and those two were just this dynamic duo who never allowed South Africa to settle, even when Markram and Van Dusen had that fantastic partnership. And then with regards to the South Africans themselves, I think we all know what cost them, and it was that first innings. 220 runs was never going to be enough. In the subcontinent, in Pakistan as well, you need to have a first innings lead. That is the one thing, that's the key thing. You tick that off, you're in a fantastic place to go on and win a match. Unfortunately, South Africa didn't do that. And then I thought with regards to Pakistan's run chase, what was their target? About 88 runs, I believe it was, in that second innings. I feel like at times, maybe a bit conservative with the captaincy. I have no doubt that we'll actually talk upon that and touch upon that as this discussion progresses. But I just want to name one example, and that was when Babar Azam came to the crease. He came to the crease at the start of the 8th over, and yet Maharaj, who got him out in the first innings, LBW, relatively early on his spell, wasn't utilised until the 23rd and final over. So for me, was a bit questionable. So to answer your original question, Shay, as I said, it's a mix of both. But to be honest, I think Pakistan do deserve a lot more plaudits, and they deserve to win this match thoroughly. For they're absolutely brilliant.
Fantastic. Thank you, Aaron. Just a couple of comments coming out through Aaron. Just back up a little bit, mate. Yeah. They want to see that handsome face yours, Aaron. So yeah.
Oh, they don't.
Well, I beg to differ from judging from these comments. So Luba, we'll hear it to you, mate. Do you concur with what Aaron was saying, or do you feel like South Africa underperformed?
I also feel it was probably a mix. It's a bit of both. But obviously, being a South African, I feel it's more of 60% South Africa not being at their best, and 40% Pakistan playing well. Not that I'm taking any credit away from Pakistan, but I did feel after we had them 4 down for not so much, we failed to sort of finish the job. And that's when Pakistan came back into the game because, as Aaron said, 200 and something batting first on day one, it'll never be good enough. For you to be able to win a test match, you have to roll the other team over. And we had the chance to try and roll them over, but Fawad Alam batted well. He showed I'm not even going to say most of them. He showed all of those batsmen how to bat on that pitch. Bearing in mind that the easiest day to bat was probably day 3. That's where my sadness comes in, because we got to bat in most parts of day 3. We didn't capitalize on that. But yeah, I also feel it's a mix of both. Pakistani bowlers bowled well. They were allowed, especially the spinners, they were allowed to try and find their line and lengths, because SA batsmen they decided we're just going to block. And we know how that doesn't work against spinners. I used to bowl spin myself. And I know if you let me bowl, if you block the whole day, you're giving me a chance to look for my line and length. And the more I beat the bat, my confidence grows. I'll start spinning the ball both ways, as we saw with Yasir Shah. Confidence was up. He was in good rhythm. He was spinning the ball both ways, and I felt that's probably where we lost the game more. Even when we were batting in the second innings, we could have given ourselves a chance, but we just allowed the Pakistani spinners to just come at us. And they were more than willing to come at us, and they came at us, as we can see from the results of the game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, South Africa, it's a bit of an echo here. Just take this off. Apologies for that. I mean, South Africa had, for me, 2 very good opportunities in that test match. Obviously, we saw on day 2, they had them 27 for 4. Now, I appreciate the only plus 220, which was, you could say, 50 to 80 below par on that wicket, even obviously win the toss and opening and batting first. And then he obviously had batting in the second innings, so 175 for 1, and then lost those wickets late on day 3. Now, at that point, obviously, he never capitalised. We're both ball and bats. Now, I felt in particular, this came down to the spinners. I felt like South Africa had Pakistan to the pump. I said 27 for 4, and he couldn't capitalise that, and they really put the strangle on Pakistan, that middle order. I appreciate, obviously, Fawad Alam played well, Fahim Ashrat, and to be honest with you, the tailback, I believe the last 4 batsmen that first innings contributed 147 runs. I mean, Yasir Shah at 11 hit 38. I mean, this is 8 to 11, guys. So the problem there, I felt, was the spinners, and is it a case, though, I'd say, guys, is when Mirage and Linda, are they so much more inferior to Ali and Shah, or is it a case of the batsmen not being acquitted enough and good enough to combat the respective spin bowling? Aaron, I'll put a question to you. I hope it makes sense what I'm trying to say there.
It does make sense. Yeah. And it is a very, very interesting question. I must admit, I don't think there really was a massive gulf in class when you just compare them 2 on paper, because Maharaj is a more than capable spinner. He's a fantastic left-arm off spinner. He's shown it for so many years. He's been an absolute rock in that South African bowling lineup. And it's the exact same thing with Yasir Shah. The guy's got 234 test wickets. He goes well under the radar, in my opinion. More people should talk about Yasir, in my view. So with regards to them on paper, no, I don't think it was a massive gulf in class. I just feel like with the Pakistani spinners, they had a clear game plan. The fact is those guys were there to take wickets. Whereas with the South African spinners, I watched the way in which de Kock was using Rabada and Gidi and Norkia. And I thought they were the strike weapons. I think that was the difference. The key with Linda and Maharaj was to take an odd wicket here and there, as Maharaj did by getting Babar Azam, massive wicket, really put South Africa on top on day one. But I don't feel like they were really going aggressive. And a fantastic way of actually, well, what to say, an example of that was with regards to the field settings. Look at the difference with Pakistan's fields to the likes of Van der Duten, du Plessis, de Kock, and compare it to South Africa's when Linda and Maharaj were bowling. Polar opposites. Polar opposites. The fact is, when South Africa were batting, Babar Azam put multiple men around the bat. Abid Ali was absolutely fantastic at sealing it off. You had Imran Butt as well. He was a fantastic in-close fielder. And I just feel like South Africa missed the trick in that regard. So to answer your original question, Shay, in my view, no on paper, but in terms of the game plan, in terms of how South Africa strategized and the way in which they wanted to win this match, I feel like that's where the golfing class potentially arrived from.
Sure. And Luba, do you agree with that? What Aaron's comments there?
Yeah, I agree 100%. But I think the other small thing that contributed was also the batsmen, the type of batsmen they were facing. South African batsmen, as I said before, they allowed the Pakistani spinners to come at them. But if you look at how the Pakistani batsmen played Keshav and how they played George Linder, they didn't try and attack them, but they also didn't allow the guys to come at them. And as Aaron has mentioned now, field setting, your field setting as captain is always going to give a lot away. We could see when Baba hit the field, you could see that he's attacking with his spinners, whereas South Africans, we probably wanted to rely on the reverse swing with our fast bowlers. It was moving. They were getting the reverse swing, but Anna and Lungi were struggling to control it. There was a point where they were bowling. It was wayward because they were getting the ball to reverse swing, but now they were struggling to control the reverse swing, which makes it useless. If you're not able to control the swing, might as well not swing it at all then, because now you're bowling to both sides of the wickets. You're not going to build pressure that way. You won't get wickets that way. The other thing I felt, Baba was patient with Nauman, because you could he didn't get an early wicket, but the more he bowled, then the more overs that he bowled. But with Keshav, you could see that there isn't that much patience in terms of the captain. Bowled him a few overs and then took him off, went back to the quicks. And I think it's a South African thing. We still have that mentality of lack of trust in our spinners. That was a spinning wicket. That wicket was more conducive to spin. We should have used spinners more than our seamers. But if you go back to the scorecard and you look at the number of overs Keshav and George Linder bowled in the match, and then you look at the number of overs that were bowled by Lungi, Anna, and KG, if you weren't watching the match, you would probably think, oh, this was probably a seaming wicket. The wicket wasn't seaming. It was a rank turner. It was turning square. We could see how Yasir was spinning the ball. We needed to use our spinners more. I think this is where we need to start questioning the captaincy. I would have liked to see Queenie using the two spinners from one end. Let them bowl as many overs as possible from one end and just on the other end. But what he was doing is he was using his simmers more than his spinners on a wicket that was more conducive for spin, which raised a lot of questions. I don't know whether the coaches, it never got to a point where they could actually tell him, well, the wicket is conducive to spin. Why don't you rather resort to using spin? Because even the field settings that we had, we were more defensive when we had the spinners, when we had a spinner bowling, and we were a bit attacking when the seamers were bowling. So you could see that the tactics were incorrect. The game plan was off. The game plan was a game plan for a different type of pitch. I don't know. They probably thought they were playing in England or something.
We won't even bring in South Africa versus England at the moment. So anyway, Lubalalo, that's brilliant. To be honest with you, I thought your comment on the style of captaincy from a South African captain was absolutely spot on. I think it's too much of a default position to say, you know what, we need a wicket, throw it to the seamers, irrespective of the wicket that you're playing on. I'm not sure about it turning square. I feel like Numan Albi wasn't turning it that much. I mean, I think Yasir Shah was one who was giving it a real rip, but he's always done that. If I look at I think that the problem South Africa had, in my opinion, that George Linder as a second spinner, he seems a very tidy bowler, but not much of a wicket-taking threat. He's obviously very tall and gangly, get good bounce. He reminds me very much of Liam Dawson, actually, as a cricketer. Is that like he's a left arm, tidy bowler. He can bat, obviously made 30 on that first innings. He actually look quite good. But to be honest with you, as a batting side facing George Linder, I wouldn't be too worried unless you played an absolute ragger, which this wasn't. This wasn't. There was assistance for the teamers. Obviously, to elaborate on your point about the captain and going to the fast bowlers, 22.5 overs were bowled in that second innings. And I think it was I think it was 19 or maybe 16.5 overs. They have 16 because Linda bowled 3 and Mirage bowled. It was actually 18. So 18 overs are bowled by seamers. 18 at 22.5. I mean, Rabada and Noki bowled 7 and 6 overs, respectively. We're chasing a small total. I felt that there, he kind of showed his hand to Cock. He showed his hand and chasing a paltry total. And the reality was, Mirage got their gun batsman out twice. I felt from a psychological perspective, if South Africa can take anything going to second test, but you know what? To me, as soon as Baba Arslan walks to the wicket, Kesh, if you're not bowling already, get warmed up, mate. You're coming on. Because he played on the wrong line twice, didn't he? So I think it's something to take, if you're going to hold a few scraps going to Rawalpindi, I think that will be one of them. I just want to kind of get to the questions, guys. Got a lot of questions coming in. If you can kind of give quick fire answers, I'll see throw them to both of you. I mean, a statement from Abai, I'm not sure he's still there, but yeah, he said we couldn't even mop up the opposition tail properly. Now, Abai is obviously a Proteas fan, but as I said before, 147 runs scored by numbers 8 to 11. It's pretty obviously appalling, which really put South Africa on a lot of pressure, didn't they, going into that second innings. If we go here to John Henry Burrows, bring up this question here. Mulder and Frangidi for me next test match, go Shamsi and Chance. Luba, would you agree with that?
I actually wrote this on Twitter about an hour ago. Mulder, he was never supposed to be dropped. We basically went in with 6 batsmen in that match. For a team that's struggling for runs, you can't be going into matches with 6 batsmen. So yes, Mulder in for Lungi, Shamsi in for George Linder, and then let's see how it's going to work out.
Okay. Aaron, over to you. So Lucy's posted, can you have your test captain and number 5-6 batting like the T20?
Well, I think in test match, I think that answer's pretty obvious, no. As a captain, you need to take responsibility. You need to shoulder the accountability of your team's innings. And I know that is a direct little jab at Quinton de Kock. I'm not going to contribute to the Quinton de Kock bashing tonight, unfortunately, boys, because I feel like there's enough in the media at the moment. I don't want to add to the outside noise per se. But the thing with Quinton is, just in general, does he look like he wants the captaincy? And from my view, as a massive fan of Quinton de Kock, I don't think he does. And just the way in which he's approached it in terms of the body language, in terms of, well, the bowling rotations as well, the answers that he gave to the media the other day, which made me laugh, it just seems like he doesn't enjoy the role. And for that reason, I just feel like, I know we'll probably mention this, but would he captain beyond this series? I think that's the overarching question for me.
Can I tell you a secret?
Please do, Luba.
He was backed to take. He didn't want it. They literally had to back him to take it.
I think it was quite obvious, wasn't it? I think I said in one of the live streams of TFM that he looked like someone just literally thrust it. I mean, I actually go back. To be honest with you, this is obviously might be wide the mark, and apologies if it is, but I feel he's actually quite frustrated with the administration and what's happened in the last 12 months. I saw what happened when he was replaced last minute, which is very dodgy, in my opinion, in that 3TC tournament. He was replaced literally the last second as captain. Vabuva came in for him, and he gives some kind of half-assed excuse of why he wasn't captain. They wasn't playing anymore. It was some mystery. It was a complete bollocks, in my opinion. There was something went behind the scenes there, because there's obviously the big four that was created leading to that tournament, and then all of a sudden the Cox not playing and Bavuma's captain. And I think, absolutely agree. I don't think he wants this captaincy. The problem is like a hot potato. They're passing it amongst each other when the reality is Dean Elgar saying, give it to me, I will take it over. And he would be the choice. I said on my channel months ago, I've done a video on this, is there, from I think mid last year, that I would have given to Dean Elgar just for 18 months, 2 years. But I don't want to kind of go on about this as, I don't want to bash the cock. I just feel like he's just been given something he doesn't really want. But I think it's down to administration more than anything else. Next question, Mirage, good support bowler, but not a match winner. Luba, which you can go with that?
It's. I think we would be harsh to say he's not a match winner. No bowler can win you matches if he's only bowling 4 overs, and the other oaks are bowling more overs than him. Like even if you can go and look at let's say the last 4 or 5 series that we played, look at the number of overs that he bowls compared to the number of overs the Simmers bowl. He's not going to win you matches if he's not getting bowling time. Spinners are like any other bowler. They rely on rhythm. So if I'm only bowling 4 overs here, and another 4 in about a month or so, I'm not going to be in rhythm, so I'm not going to be winning matches. So I think he's a match winner if used properly.
Mm-hmm.
We've got John Henry Burrows on the question here. His statement.
He did say that. Yep.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah, and it is a good point, to be fair, because if you look at India, for example, and obviously India did get bowled out for 36 at the Adelaide Oval, but the key with them, they have Cheteshwar Pujara, and whether you absolutely love Pujara or you hate him, the key is he sticks in. He's a really gritty, feisty character, and you saw that in the last Test match at the Gabba, and he just anchors an innings perfectly. And I feel like South Africa could almost have a Pujara-like character in Rassie van der Dusen, but he also needs support, because although he's an experienced figurehead in domestic cricket, he still hasn't got the experience that Pujara has on the international stage. So that's all I'd say about that. And it was an excellent point that from John. I must admit, he said that on a live stream. So fair play, John.
Can I just add quickly? I agree with that to some extent. I personally feel how you recover from being 2 down is what makes you a world-class team. I made an example with, I think it was England a few months ago. I said quite often I've seen them 2 down very earlier, but they still manage to score a lot of runs because they know how to recover from that. Your openers are not always going to score runs for you. Sometimes you get one of them scoring runs, so you're 1 down early. Sometimes you get both of them not scoring runs. Opening is not easy. So for me, I personally feel what makes a world-class side is how you recover from a collapse or a mini collapse. At this point in time, Proteas don't even know how to recover from a mini collapse, any type of collapse. We just, if a collapse starts, we collapse for the whole match. And that's why we're very far from being a world-class side.
I got another comment here from Will Burford, Sports Express. How you doing, mate? Good to see you on air. Will said it's actually, this extra point. Will we ever see Dane Villas play for South Africa? Aaron? What,
in Test match cricket or in general? I don't think in Test matches, and I've spoken to Dane. He's a lovely bloke, so it's nothing against him. But I feel like that ship sailed.
Absolutely,
now because it's Quinton de Kock.
And Carl Verena's there as well. You've got class in there. You've got a plethora of keepers in South Africa.
Potentially Kashila as well, Sinatemba, who is a class wicket keeper. I may just add.
Oh, who's that, Aaron? Sorry,
Sinatemba Kashile, brilliant.
Oh yes, Kashile. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've been named 4 already there. So I
still respect Dane though. Quality for Lanks.
Yeah. Played the Dolphins 2 seasons as well, so I do like him as well. Anyway, Abay's commented there as well. So if he's just obviously look then to the Rawalpindi Test match. Actually, before we go to that, I just wanted to talk about quickly what Luba said in his last comments. Has there been a slight knee-jerk reaction to this Test match result? I think Aaron, you made a fantastic comment in Cricket Fanatics magazine stream. I think just after the end of the Test match on Friday, you said, "What do South Africa really expect from their side?" Obviously, the only player who played cricket in Pakistan was Faf du Plessis. You're going with a relatively inexperienced side in terms of number of Test matches. I think it's quite well documented. The age is not that young. It's actually not. Everyone's in the kind of you could argue the wrong side of 30 in that top order, apart from Markram. But what I mean, Lubo, I guess a question for you really. What did you really expect to happen, in this Test match? Were you expecting South Africa to turn them over? I mean, say you haven't played for 14 years, none of these guys have been there before. It's fairly alien conditions. You don't play 2 Test matches in the last kind of 13 months or 12 months. Is this maybe an overreaction to the performance from the South African fans?
To be honest, I think most of our fans are overreacting. I saw a lot of people calling for a lot of drastic changes. I don't believe in making wholesale changes during a series. It was the first game of the series that we lost. But personally speaking for myself, as a coach, I don't always look at the result. I look at how the result came. So what worries me personally is how we lost, because I feel like we're a side. Everyone keeps saying we're a rebuilding side, but if you look at our top 7, the youngest guy is my age, 26. He's turning 27 probably next month. So we can't, in terms of age, can we say we're rebuilding? No, we're not rebuilding. Look at number of caps. Okay, in terms of number of caps, we can say we're rebuilding, but rebuilding doesn't go by number of caps. It goes in terms of age. How many of those guys in the top 7 will be there in the next 4 or 5 years for us to say we're rebuilding? Even a guy like Temba Bavuma might not even be there in the next 4 or 5 years. Rassi might not be there. Dean Elgar might not be there. Faf du Plessis might not be there. That's 4 or 5 guys already. Are we really rebuilding? There's one thing I said on Cricket Fanatics before the squad was announced. I said the squad that would be announced would tell us where the coach and the selectors want to be going. But I'll tell you now, I can't see the direction that they want to take. They have plenty of youngsters picked in the squad, in the massive squad, but we're not seeing any youngster being given a chance to play. And everyone's going to say, no, we're rebuilding. You can't rebuild with 30-year-olds, to be honest. I can understand why we'd keep a guy like Faf. You need that experience. Experience is very valuable. Even a guy like Dean Elgar, I understand those. But I really don't understand. But for me, I felt a lot of the fans are being over-exaggerating. It was never going to be easy playing in Pakistan, to be honest. And it's almost like people were expecting to find a green top in Pakistan. I can tell you now, even if they could prepare a green top, they wouldn't prepare one against SA. Why would you prepare a pitch that's going to favor Sim when you're going to play against a side that has Kagiso Rabada and Rakhnoke and Lungingit? So even for the second test match, I'm expecting another rank turner. I'm expecting a pitch that's going to turn. SA, we need to get to that point where this is a brand of cricket we want to play. This is where we want to go as a team, and we need to start working towards that. At this point in time, personally, I don't see the direction that the team is taking. Even the brand of cricket that we're playing, I don't see where it's going. It's almost like we're a team that goes out to play without any proper strategies, without any proper plans. Me and Aaron even mentioned how we were using our spinner. You're playing on a pitch that has something for the spinners more than it does for the seamers. Why would you use seamers more than your spinners? Did the team sit down? Did they look at the pitch and say, okay, this is how the pitch is, and this is how we want to play this game? Or did they just decide, well, we're just going to bat first because everyone says if you're playing in Asia, you win the toss, bat first. What was the plan after batting first? You look at how they went out. What was the plan? 2 run-outs in the first innings. What was the plan? You can't seem to understand what the planning is. So for me, I don't always worry about whether we lost or won, but I want to see how we lose. And I didn't like how the team lost. It was worrying for me. And if we're going to lose matches like that, it means we're not going anywhere slowly.
Aaron, just quickly on that point. Obviously, you're a neutral, but as an England fan, I think obviously over the years, prior to, I mean, I go back, especially my era before even born, Aaron, in the 90s. We obviously, England were always in a case of rebuilding, and always a knee-jerk reaction when we got beat. I remember losing well, lose that one test against West Indies in 95. And it was also a case of, okay, we obviously drew the series 2-2 in the end, but it was a case of just get rid of all the oldies, get the youngsters in. If you're 15, 16, 17, just get them in, get them in. You know, it's a fresh start. People always want that newness, that fresh, because we feel like it gives hope to the side, you know, and it's not always so simple as that. There has to be a measure, because the reality is you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you get a balance that they have, South Africa have a fair amount of balance, you could say. Obviously, the bowling attack's a lot younger than the batting, but you can't have all youngsters, can you? And then you can't have obviously the all-timers. You have to be still winning test matches along the way. That's obviously the balance. Now, obviously, that the administration have to get right. If let's put you, Aaron, in Mott Boucher's shoes. You're Mott Boucher right now.
Wow, I'd have a lot more.
So, what do you do, obviously, for this test match, and then let's say going forward to the Australia series? Do you bring in one or two of the youngsters? I mean, obviously, Shamsi, I'm sure, come back to the side. I'm not really sure anyone's on the sidelines. Obviously, Raymond Tonda, for example, would have been there because of his injury. But do you kind of, maybe slowly eke out the older players and then bring in some youth slowly, like England have tried to in the past? Or do you stick with what you've got, put faith in them, put trust in them? Obviously, it's only one test match ago that South Africa obviously come off a resounding 2-0 win, and everything is all rosy, right? And now everything's all doom and gloom. But what would your approach be, Aaron?
Well, it's an incredibly tough question. I'm going to be honest, Shay. And actually, I feel like before a rebuild actually happens, we have to touch upon Lubalalo's point, which is about identity. And it's something which I've been mentioning for months now. What is the identity of this South African team? They don't have an identity. It's not like England, for example, where you do have two very old-fashioned, gritty opening batsmen in Dom Sibley, Rory Burns, and then the middle order can pick up the pieces with the likes of Joe Root, Ben Stokes, Ollie Pope, for example, and Joss Butler, of course. So I feel like before any rebuild actually takes place, South Africa, whether that's Boucher, Smith, the leadership group within that team right now, needs to have a sit down and say, this is the direction we're going to go in. And a fantastic example of that was In the Edge. It is a fantastic documentary for anyone watching this. Please do go and watch it, about Andy Flower and the England team of the late 2000s, early 2010s. And he did exactly that. And he set out, I think, a 2 or 3 year plan. From 2009 to 2012, we're going to go from rock bottom pretty much. I think we're 7th in the world to 1st. And we did it. And fair enough, I'm not saying for 1 second that that's going to happen with South Africa and that's going to happen so easily. It's cricket. You aren't just entitled to success straight away because you're having a rebuild. With that being said, to answer your actual question there, Shay, I do feel like for the moment, let's just keep the experience in there for the time being, okay, for this series. I feel like the ship sailed now. The opportunity's gone. If you're going to put the youth in, you may as well have put them in Karachi and really got them in subcontinental conditions. Because in Rawalpindi, I don't think it's going to turn. I'm going to be honest. It's going to be more suited for South Africa. It's one of the most seam-conducive pitches in Pakistan. It's an absolute belter. It's also one, again, where you need first innings runs, but we'll touch upon that in a bit. So with regards to the rebuild that South Africa needs to take now, they need to really identify their skeletal structure. So whether that's Markram and Elgar, they're going to be openers. I feel like they are. Those two are set in. Quinton de Kock's place is firmly cemented. Even though he's not in the greatest of form, he is their most talented batsman in terms of raw potential. He's in there 100%. As Lubalalo correctly said, Faf du Plessis is an absolute stalwart. You cannot buy experience. The guy is a modern legend of South African cricket. He keeps his place. For the time being, Rassie as well. Potentially. I feel like Rassie does have a lot of potential. It's just about maybe just, as I said, giving him a bit more of a consistent run in the team. And then, of course, you've got the bowlers. So it's about identifying that skeletal structure. And for me, for the time being, I'd say they have about 6 or 7 guaranteed spots. But those 4 other spots, the complementary or supplementary spots, are what are letting South Africa down at the moment. Because, as I said, there isn't an identity. There aren't players in those positions who are complementing the others. And a fantastic point as well, which was mentioned on Cricket Fanatics. We're going to keep on mentioning them as though it's cricketing gospel, because we all do appear on it. But I forgot who actually said the comments. It might have been Seppo when he came on. But he said that they bat all like individuals. And that is a fantastic point. So with regards to this rebuild, it's about identifying characters, not just batsmen, not just looking at averages or stats or whatever, how they play. It's about looking for characters. Carl Verreynne is a fantastic example of this. I feel like he is the next generation, realistically, of South African cricket. He's an absolute gun batsman, fantastic wicketkeeper. And in addition to that, the guy has a never die mentality. He is never going to back down. And he absorbs pressure, performs in big match situations for the Cobras. I feel like he could do that for South Africa. So he's someone who I'd identify. And then, of course, Reynard van Tonder. He's been spoken about a lot. So I feel like heading into the Australia series, maybe you bring these guys in. Let's face it, South Africa paper Australia by any means. Australia, I know they've just lost, but at the same time, they are also very, very good at Test cricket. And of course, they have a fantastic seam battery. So why not just bring in these guys there? Bring in your Verreynnes, bring in your Van Tonders, maybe bring in another supplementary option, like a William Mulder, for example, who's been extremely impressive, I think, in Test match cricket so far. So that, in my opinion, is where the rebuild needs to happen. Take it in 3 steps. 1 is the identity. 2 is bringing in the inexperienced players, and 3 is giving them a consistent run. And if South Africa could do that, you're in a much better position heading into the future.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. Just John Henry's come up with another question. I'll give it to you, Lou, before we wrap up. Because obviously, touch upon the same points we're discussing now. What do you guys think of the youth of cricket in South Africa? Bright future, Lou. What do you think?
Lots of talent, bright future, definitely. But as I've mentioned this a couple of times on Twitter. I personally believe no country can ever be short of talent. The issue is always talent management. How you take care of the talent. So there's plenty of talent. Like I think next week, Cubs week will be starting. It's the under-19 franchise tournament where each franchise is represented by an under-19 squad. If I'll try and keep you guys posted on that. Plenty of talent. The issue is with CSA. We need to manage the talent properly. To answer that question in simple, there's lots of talent. The bright future is there. We just need to manage it properly.
I think there's a ton of talent in South Africa, actually, just following, obviously, franchise cricket there. I think we mentioned here, obviously, Keegan Peterson, another guy we didn't mention before. He's 27 years old. He's been phenomenal for the Knights now Dolphins for the past 3 seasons. There is a lot of options. Sarah Lowia, who's been performing superbly well. I think, so and actually, I see John Henry does say this as well. John Henry, mate, superb comment. That's the best comment I've read today. Absolutely, Dolphins to the win. We're heading back to that final, mate. Retain our trophy. Now it goes. It's
raining in Porsche.
I like this guy. I like this guy.
It's raining in Porsche, Jay.
Is it raining? I didn't even check the forecast.
Yeah, I was told it's raining now. An hour ago, I was told it's raining. So
and tomorrow?
I'm not sure about tomorrow, but if it rains the whole night, the drainage system is quite poor there. So if it rains the whole night, the Dolphins will swim into the final.
That's brilliant. I really like to end the show on that note, really. Dolphins swim into the final. But we can't. We have a couple more things to go. As Aaron said, you are absolutely box office, mate. You are box office.
I don't lie. He is. Lubalalo is.
Then John Henry said, South Africa needs to go first. Yeah, it's to be honest, I think it's a little bit harsh. I know I saw, obviously, again, I'll reference CFM, but Ravi mentioned about because it's obviously the show's been so good over there, but the comments that Ravi made about Faf and Quinton, talk about let's put sausage on the braai and stuff like that, about the Vos and the braai. I feel like it's just their approach to cricket, that worked fine, didn't it, a test ago, but because they've got beat, they want all seriousness, and I think they really care about the badge. I really do. I think Faf du Plessis has shown. Look at his career, what he did by leaving county cricket. He had so many opportunities. You saw the interview with Ashwin on Ashwin's channel, which is a great channel, by the way. He goes to lengths about the pull that the country had for him to go back to South Africa after what happened, obviously. So I think he really cares about what he went through last year, the captaincy. He's obviously a ton of weight on his shoulders. I think Faf really cares, and I think Bamadusa really cares. I think Markham really cares. I think Elgar is incredibly passionate about the Proteas. I think the Cock cares in his own way. It's his style. I just feel like the captain's obviously burning him, but of course he cares at playing for South Africa. I think the way he captains in white ball cricket, he clearly embraces the role. It's just that this has been thrust upon him. I do feel it's a bit unfair. I think they are passionate. They want to win. They want to do well. They're just not going to get too beat up about it because, I guess it's almost like for us fans, you want to see them like just heads down and be all, depressed because of what's happened. And we don't know what's happened behind closed doors, guys. For all we know, Boucher has given the hairdryer treatment and they're really going to knuckle down for the second test. We don't know. We're not inside those four walls, are we? We can't just judge everything what's been said, little snippets on the field, what's been had, So, yeah, anyway, I do feel a lot of passion there. But anyway, just a few more comments we've got here. Bears for the win, Will.
Yes. Very, very good, Will. Excellent. Stupendous choice. Stupendous choice.
And Emily's like, of course it's raining, Poch. And then Will's a bit of a left field comment. Thoughts on Kabir Ali?
Guessing that's for me because of 2012, that last over, Neil Carter missing what's basically a full toss on the offside, something that I'd watched him for years dispatch for 4 or 6. Yes, we've spoken that at length on a couple of our latest podcasts. Actually, Will, I won't ruin any of the surprise. But yeah, good bowler, Kabir Ali. Played for Hampshire in 2012, robbed the Bears of a CB40 trophy, which we lost on wickets, which is much worse than a boundary count. And pretty good bowler. Very, very handy county player.
Didn't he play for England in that 6 Pakistan series? England won 3-0.
Yeah, he had an England.
The one that were Charles.
Is he Moeen's brother, Kabir?
No, he's not, they're not brothers.
They're related. I'm convinced.
No, I think they're cousins. They don't think they're brothers.
I
think they're cousins. Yeah. Lucy Glenton. Yeah. Well, we'll see. He didn't do so well last game, did he? But anyway, Nicholas Stinty against Cobras. But I think we'll kind of wrap it up there, guys. Got any more questions? Please get in quickly. I'm just going to say, obviously, we head to Rawalpindi. Obviously, we've got kind of different viewpoints from both Luba and Aaron on how the wicket will play. But fair enough. If you obviously have to make a prediction, guys, what are we saying? Luba, we'll start with you. But actually, as well, just to accompany that as well, what changes are South Africa making? And your prediction.
Okay, before the series, I had this feeling that we won't lose the series. So I'm going to say SA will probably take the second match. And changes I would make, Vian Mulder was going to come in for Lungi Ngiti. He didn't bowl poorly. I always want to have that 7th batsman when I'm playing a test match. I'm quite old school. So Vian Mulder coming in at 7 for us. And George Linder making way for Shamsi. Those are the only 2 changes.
Yeah, I think if Linder departs, you have to bring in Mulder to show up the batting. Otherwise, the tail's too long. And your prediction there, Luba?
SA is going to win the match.
Okay.
Were we expecting anything else?
Yeah, that's fair. Aaron, will Pakistan make any changes, you think, or will they go in and change side?
Well, that's an interesting one. See, this is the thing for me. I wish that Kamran Gulam was in the squad because he was an absolute gun in the Cardi Nizam Trophy. Finished as the leading run scorer by, I think, over 100 runs. He was absolutely sensational. I don't think they will. I don't really think there's really an argument against anyone else. Unless you maybe swap out one of the seamers. In fact, no, I changed my mind. Unfortunately for me, Noman Ali will have to depart, even though he had a fantastic debut, purely because it's Rawalpindi, a surface which is world-renowned for being seam conducive. I think they're going to bring out the X Factor, the big gun, Harris Ralph. After just 3 first-class matches, that's my prediction. I think Harris Ralph will make a debut at Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium. And in terms of prediction, Shay, it's anyone's game. This is the thing. They are both sides, both Pakistan and South Africa, are immensely entertaining. But at the same time, they're also incredibly enigmatic. When they're brilliant, they are absolutely exceptional. When they don't come to the party, they're not. It's as simple as that. And I feel like it is going to be another very, very close test match. So for me, just to add a bit of balance, I'll say a Pakistan win, but it could go either way.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. I will acknowledge the last question, though it's not really on the topic, but I appreciate it. Aaron will Samhay, you play for England.
Yes, when I replace Ed Smith as selector, he'll be straight in the 11.
There we go. That's quick fire rounds. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, Aaron, Luba. Fantastic. I really enjoyed that. Thank you so much for coming on.
Brilliant, man.
It was really good fun. Luba, especially you, mate. Obviously, I know it's late, 10 to 12 now where you are, so I appreciate you coming on. Aaron, brilliant as always, mate.
No problem, mate.
Heroes.
Thank you so much. And by the way, thanks to everyone in the comments as well. It's good banter in there. It's really good. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on. And really enjoyed that. Do check me out. Obviously, Uneven Balance got some videos. About to shoot some videos now, actually, after this. Aaron, where can we find you? I know we can't. Everyone knows, but still anyway.
I don't really have loads to promote, to be honest, Shay. Obviously, Instagram at the Cricket Connoisseur _ and the podcast, which is just the County Cricket Podcast. But to be honest, guys, just thank you very much for having me on. I've absolutely loved it. Shay, thank you for being a brilliant host. And Luba, of course, as always, I said it beforehand, box office, never fails to disappoint, and brilliant once more. So, yes, thank you very much, guys. It's been an absolute blast.
Aaron's being very modest there. You must check him out on Instagram. Can't Cricket Podcast. I listen to it on my runs in the morning. It is brilliant. Check him out. Him and Joe Nutter, 20 Odds podcast is fantastic. They get some really great guests in there. They flow very well. Really good energy and chemistry between the two of them. Go check it out. Luba, where can we find you, mate?
On Twitter. That's the only social media that I use for cricket mostly. The other ones, they don't really matter.
What about the Insta? What about the
selfies?
You'll see the brooding, Model X pictures of Luba. They're kind of leaning on the swimming pool. Sideways shots. You'll get that. With him, you get the fashion and you get the cricket. You get, this lifestyle, a bit lifestyle and cricket on his channel.
So the cricket is mostly on Twitter. And enjoyed being here. Thank you very much. Aaron, you're still gonna get your tutorial on how to use memes, my man. Don't worry. I'm still creating a report for you, or I'm gonna put it on PowerPoint.
Brilliant.
On how to use memes.
Thank you, Brew. Much appreciated. I'll be sure to use it.
Luby, you might want to open up apparently your Twitter's private. Cricket Scholar Twitter's private.
For now it is. I'll open it in the next couple of hours.
Oh, there you go, babe. Go on about midnight, mate. Nice surprise. There you go. Exactly. Cool. All right. Thanks again, guys. Thanks so much. And hopefully catch you again soon.
Sure. Cheers.
Cool. Cheers. Keep.